This is the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 18th show. I bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything here, everything money. I'm here to help you in today's economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast, but you can always call into the show at 1-855 400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, I have Tyler Freed with Windermere Real Estate, Lake Tapps. Tyler, thanks for coming back into studio.
Thanks for having me, Tina. Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well. Tyler Freed is a top producing Puget Sound real estate broker with Windermere Real Estate. He is recently showcased as a top Zillow agent in their 50 to 50 Agents Zillow Agent Spotlight. Tyler's been actively selling homes in the Windermere Real Estate since 2004, and he has attended Washington State University and graduate with a degree in business administration. He currently works with Windermere Relocation, helping major corporations relocate their employees in and out of the Puget Sound area. Tyler can be found on the front page of Zillow for agents in Bellevue, Seattle, and Tacoma, or you can just visit his website at tylerfreed.com. And Tyler, it's been a little while since I've had you in studio, so excited to hear the wealth of information that you have to share with my listeners. And I'd like to just start out with the real estate market. There's a lot of different opinions out there on what's happening in the real estate market. And I know specific on location and depending on where you're selling at, but what are you dealing with in your market?
Well, we're kind of seeing a little bit of a buyer's market the farther south we go. My office is down in the Bonnie Lake area. Okay. So my experience has been with listings right now, the ones that are sitting a little longer are the homes that are basically south of Kent. Okay. Unless you're still in that investor price range of under 300, those are flying off the shelves and get multiple offers just kind of across the board like everything else. But we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown, longer time on market in those areas.
Well, which is exciting for the buyers. You know, the market is always balanced, and I always talk about that life in itself is always balanced. Right. I mean, it's either going to be a buyer's market or seller's market. So for you buyers out there, if you're getting a little frustrated with the market and put yourself on the fence a little bit, it's time to get off because some of the things are changing in the dynamics in some areas. So that's great to hear, Tyler. Do you find it, and sellers, sorry, but it's still a great market to sell your house, but just not as many buyers coming. Tyler, do you find it tough to sell during the winter time? So right now in this market, how is it for sellers trying to sell their home?
It's still a really good time. You know, my thoughts on real estate, it's always been supply and demand. It always will be supply and demand. So a lot of people really want to put their home on the market when all the flowers are blooming and the sun's shining. So they're always thinking, we'll just wait till spring. So if you don't have that competition, you're kind of the only show in town. So right now is a really good time to have your home on the market because there's not a lot of homes in the neighborhoods that's going to take away buyers from you. So now is a good time. Yeah,
and those buyers that are out there buying are probably, they're pretty encouraged or in need of buying because they might not be looking during that time unless they were, right?
Yeah, we see a lot more serious buyers. I always say August, and it held true this year. August always brings out the flaky buyers. But the people that are shopping when the weather's bad, they're serious buyers. And right now we're seeing a lot of stuff. We'll talk a little bit more, but with Windermere Relocation, we relocate a lot of people for Boeing right now. So we're getting a lot of people in and out of the state and a lot of buyers coming in. So we'll start seeing that push continue through the rest of the year.
That's awesome. So the demand, lots of a high demand then?
It is high demand. I mean, the foot traffic really dies down as you hit into the winter time, but those people going through the doors are a lot more serious. So I would take that over the flakes that we see in the August time.
Of course. And what about the amount of homes that are on the market towards the end of the year? What do you see in the comparison at now versus a different time?
Well, it's going to be a lot less homes that are on the market. The people that really need to sell are going to have their homes listed, and those people might be relocating for work or just needing to change their lifestyle around. So we usually see a drop, about this time now into the end of the year, and no one really likes to have their home on the market during the holidays because they might have guests coming into town or entertaining and everything. So those sellers are serious. So those are good people to
So lots
to
of
tour.
serious out there, which means there's not as much of the rat race and things that you talked about. And I think what a great time for sellers especially during the holidays, because it's all about warm and fuzzy feeling when you're buying a house. So make sure you take advantage of that and have the candle smelling, candles going. Make sure you've got your Christmas tree up and just deck out a little bit more. Don't do what maybe you're thinking of doing, wanting to sell, that you're stopping doing that because you're not emotionally attached to the home. Remember, the people that are coming in, you want them to be emotionally attached, right?
Yeah, a lot of people throughout the year are thinking, where's my Christmas tree going to go in this home? So definitely put it up and show it off. I like it.
Exactly. So what are some of the other advantages of buying in the winter?
Well, I think if you put your buyer hat on, like we mentioned, that the sellers are a little more serious and definitely need to move if they have their home on the market. So you have a little bit of more negotiation power, I've found, during that time. And then also on the lending end, your side there, Tina, is that there's not as many homes that are going to be under contract or loans that are going to be in underwriting. So that process is a lot smoother and a lot faster. So you can sweeten the deal on your offers with a quick close.
Totally true. Unless these rates, I mean, look what happened yesterday with the bond market. It was crazy. So it was the mortgage rates are based on how the bonds are trading. So when the bonds improve, the Fannie Mae 30-year bond improves, it's good for interest rates. And I came in, I was like, oh my God, what happened? But then in the middle of the day, we lost a lot of it, and there was a midday price change for the worse. It was just crazy. Anyways, let's talk about foot traffic through homes during the winter time. What's that looking like?
It definitely slows down a bit. We talked about it earlier in the show. I'm hoping that we see an increase and a pickup in it for this winter, because buyers were just getting so beat up, losing out on multiple offers for the whole year. So now they've still got the formula of good rates and a little bit lower prices and more serious sellers. So it's a good combination for them.
I totally agree, Tyler. So what is putting your crystal ball together for next year? What do you feel is going to happen next year with our real estate prices?
Well, we got to look at the demand like we talked about earlier. I think rates, a lot of the experts are projecting them to go up a point, and I think they have to. I'm pretty sure that'll end up happening. So, and in terms of the market, I think we're still going to see good appreciation. Nothing got too crazy. Seattle's going to stay hot. East Side's going to stay hot. And even down where I'm at, down south, we're still seeing good single-digit appreciation.
So what about the area doing compared to the rest of the nation? So when you're looking at your market and what's happening, or overall Seattle market in comparison to, because I think we're pretty darn fortunate to be where we're at.
Yeah, Tina, we're very fortunate. We've got such good, big profile companies here hiring and hiring like crazy.
Yes.
That's bringing in these high paid tech employees, and they're spending a lot of money, and that's really driving up the prices on the east side in the Seattle area. So that's a big factor there.
Yeah, and if our weather keeps doing what it's doing, who would not want to live in Seattle?
We've had a lot of people relocating up from California, and they're like, why is everybody complaining about this weather? We've been pretty lucky this year.
I know. So why do people choose to live in Washington, and why are our prices so high in comparisons to other parts of the country?
Well, I think it's our economy is really good up in the state of Washington, especially on the west side with higher paying jobs. And I think values of homes, I mean, we're even seeing it in like Puyallup and around the Lakeland area where there's really good schools. People are spending a lot more money to be there. So location, if you're close to work, no one wants to be stuck in a car all day. That can drive up prices. And then schools are so important. Everyone wants their kids to get the best schooling. So that's factored all together, and that really drives up prices and kind of helps us outproduce the other states. Yeah.
And I'm excited to see as we get into 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, and I've had Sound Transit quite a bit in as a guest, and there's a lot of things that are happening in our transportation. So I think it's going to be a little bit easier for these commute times as we get a little bit smarter with how we do our transportation. So that'll be interesting. What about the buyers? If I have a buyer that's listening right now, Tyler, that's thinking of getting into the market right now, what is the best advice that you have for them?
Definitely get pre-approved. Step one, we've talked about it many times, but just get out and tour, get a feel for it, see what you can get for your money. It's pretty amazing. Prices have really climbed. A lot of the lower end first time buyers are kind of having a challenge in directing them sometimes towards townhouses because these single family homes have increased so much. But just get out there and see what's out there, and be in a spot where you're close to employment and have good schools, and it's a winning combination.
I agree. And it is all about preparation and planning. Understand what you're willing to do. Make sure that you know what the bank is willing to lend you. Make sure you've got your options. Work with a good real estate professional that can really hold your hand and walk you through the process, and it can be a fun experience. And definitely don't sit back and not take advantage of this market if it's right for you. So, Tyler, I want to congratulate you. You've got a new show coming up on Discovery Channel, and can you talk to my listeners a little bit about that?
Well, it's still in the works. Pretty exciting. I got a call from the gal that produced the Sale of Two Cities on HGTV with me a couple years ago. And she just said, Tyler, we've got a new idea for a show. And I don't know how much I can say about it, but it's pretty cool. They're trying to make the show cater toward guys at home that are sitting on the couch and the bells and whistles of the home.
What, you guys do that?
Yeah. So it'll be fun to see. We're trying to get Seattle involved and try and get a floating home or get some homes on the water. We have such beautiful properties over here.
Wow.
So excited, and hopefully shoot that next month, and hopefully it gets picked up.
That would be awesome. Definitely have to keep me informed on that. So any other advice that you have for buyers or the sellers that are doing something, real estate transactions in this market?
I would just say, have an agent come over to your house, give you a price opinion. There's so much equity right now that people don't realize. And when the buyers get out there and start looking, they're going to, sit back and say, hey, well, my house is probably worth a little bit more than I thought it was. So have an expert come over, get a price opinion, and get out there and tour some houses. And, money's cheap right now to lend on, and there's some values out there, and you're going to be kicking yourself in a couple of years if you don't take advantage of it now.
I totally agree. So, Tyler, I know how awesome you are because that's why you were invited into studio. But tell my listeners something unique about your services as a realtor that makes you different than the masses out there.
I think for me, this year's been a lot of listings, which has been really fun because the marketing background is just kind of the nerd in me comes out. So we got a drone this year that flies about 2,000 feet in the air, and we're doing a lot of aerial shots, and sellers are loving that. You got to be careful where you're at when you're doing those.
Whole nother conversation, right?
A whole nother conversation. I think it's just all about that relationship and trust, and just walking them through and being a teacher, not a salesman, is kind of my philosophy there.
I totally agree. Tyler, thank you so much for coming back in studio. I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate the time to sit face-to-face across from you.
Oh, thank you for having me again. Good to see you, Tina.
You too. And coming up next in the Money Hour, selling real estate in the fourth quarter, Dan Edwards with the East Side Real Estate team right here at 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.